my name is Brooke Lippman.
My name is Dr. Deb Lippman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. Last week, we had a discussion about our favorite big cities. On this episode, we're going to chat about food.
Yes, food. I like to cook food. I like to eat food. Before I moved here, I had a very small favorite palate. I thought, special nights were for steak and baked potatoes. Really couldn't go any further than that. Unless you, of course, went out for seafood on a Friday night. That was, that was kind of how I grew up, and that was, all I knew. And so, however, my palate has changed quite drastically, and in a positive way, since moving here. What about you?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever been all that picky. I mean, I used to be when I was really little, but I don't think I've ever been super picky with food. There's, a small amount of things that I don't like to eat. But yeah, I'm not super picky with food. I will try almost anything. And so anytime I go anywhere new, I like to try something different usually.
Okay, well, you're near France, very close to France, so gonna try tartare?
I think I've tried tartare before.
Do you try the the salmon tartare?
Yeah, well,
okay.
I've had,
Have
I guess
you done
raw
the beef?
salmon. No, but I am scared to eat that.
I actually
I know it's not ground beef, but...
Right. Well, I mean, it is a ground.
That's why I don't know if I could eat it.
It is ground, but it was so funny because when I ordered it, I didn't know what I was ordering. And it just, the menu was very limited. It was one of those fancy restaurants where the menu's, quite limited. And so your dad ordered a pasta, and I said, well, I'll try the tartare. Mm-hmm. And the waiter asked, do you want it hot? And I thought, what? Hot? He said, yeah, hot? And I was like, yeah, I want it hot. So I thought it was going to be, obviously, I thought it was going to be cooked.
Yeah.
Somehow. I didn't know what tartare was when I ordered it. So I didn't know it was an uncooked meat. And so then it gets there, and by this time, so we're seated outside, but by this time, there's only the lights, the little fairy lights on, and the sun's gone down, and it was a pretty dark night. So I looked at it, and I thought, oh, that looks like raw ground meat, Todd. And your dad says, do you not know what tartare is? And I was like, no, he said, we had French class. We had both taken French in college. And I thought, I don't remember ever learning this. And so I thought, well, I asked for it. And I said, besides, it can't be uncooked. He asked if I wanted it hot. So it's got to be warm, right? It was not. It was spicy hot. They put peppers and stuff in it. And so, however, I thought, I ordered this and it was very expensive. So I thought, I've got to eat it. I can't just not eat it. And I thought, well, if I don't get sick, I'll know that, there's, and I didn't get sick.
No, because they know how to prepare it.
Yeah, and so I don't know that I would try to get, because I honestly don't know that I enjoyed it, because I was so scared the entire time I was eating it that I was going to get sick, that I could not enjoy the meal. So maybe I want to try it again, now that I know I won't get sick. I want to try it again and see if I can enjoy it. So it's kind of different. But, I've now, kind of cut back on, the heavy meats. And, doctor says, you're too old for that stuff now. So, But I do love to cook. I still love to cook the cream sauces and the cheese sauces. And so I still like all that.
Yeah, I've recently really liked cooking. If people that are going to be eating it are going to enjoy the food that I cook.
How do you know until they try it? I mean,
because they're willing to try it. Because some people aren't
that should be
willing
enough.
to.
I mean, I don't think that. I think people especially in a dinner situation where you're cooking for somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I think people come for, the camaraderie, the togetherness. I think they come to that table for that.
They're still going to eat the
Yes,
food.
and so I still don't think that they would.
I don't want people like me to cook for people and then no one actually wants to eat it.
Well, they would eat it, I think, as long as they knew they weren't going to get sick. They would probably eat it.
I know
but,
some people
they may
that
not
would
ask for seconds.
Well, that's okay. If I'm cooking for someone, I expect that other people, like, they're going to eat it. Like,
yes.
I don't want to. I've had situations where I've cooked for people and like no one has wanted to eat it.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well. Okay.
Maybe not no one, but like certain people are just like.
It's okay.
Not willing to try it.
We don't seem to have that problem in our family. we cook, we eat. But yeah. So yeah, but I think that is I think cooking for someone is such a deep, heartfelt activity. So I get what you're saying. You realize you're putting a lot into it because you don't just cook all the time. So I see why you want them to recognize that this is special.
Yeah.
And I understand that because that's I feel the exact same way when I cook for you guys. I always want it to be special. So and I want y'all to know that I do this because I care, and I think that cooking does show that. But what about cordon bleu?
Oh, I love cordon bleu.
I love cordon bleu, and it was so funny because the first time I ever tried it, I tried it in the United States, and I did not like it.
Interesting. Okay.
I didn't like the taste of the cheese that the restaurant used, and the smell of the cheese. I just was not crazy about it. And then, so when we came here, I probably went 3 years seeing it on the menus and would not eat it because I knew I didn't like it. And then I tried it because it was one of the specials of the restaurant across the street, Vitter. And so Dad and I went there one Friday evening after work, and I tried it, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is so good.
It's good.
And then we looked up the origin of cordon bleu, and it's a Swiss.
It is.
It's a Swiss dish, and I thought, my goodness. And now I'm just kind of crazy about it. Every restaurant we go to that has it on the menu, I want to try it. So
yeah,
I do try it often.
It's very good. I think I had it in the U.S. that one time when we were at the beach and we went to that one restaurant that was like in a hotel, but it was kind of fancy. And then I don't remember what it tasted like there. I think I liked it. I think I ate the whole thing. And then I had like the frozen ones from Migros here, and I liked those. And if you can like the frozen ones, you're going to like the real thing.
Yeah. I agree with that. I did like the frozen ones that you picked up here. But I think that my absolute favorite food that I have found in Switzerland is pommes. And you guys, most of you probably know this is French fries. But they're different here. They're bigger. They're cooked a different way. Like they double fry them.
And they're a little bit healthier because they fry them in different oils.
Yeah, they do it in different oils, like cleaner oil, and it just stunning. Just
materials.
The crispiness of the outside. And, most bars that we go to, I order.
Really good.
Pommes
if you're drinking beer, you might as well also eat pommes. Because you're already getting all that wheat and gluten.
Yeah. Make it a night. Just make it a night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I do love the pommes. Yeah.
I have to say the bar food here has also been just really good. There are some that have, like, really fancy food at the bar, I think.
Yeah.
And, no, it's really good. All the food here is so good. Yeah.
And it was funny because when I first moved here, I didn't like any of the food here. It wasn't what I was used to. I didn't like it. I didn't like going out to eat. There were no restaurants that I found that I liked. Now that's changed. Over 5 years, there's several good restaurants that I would recommend to many people. But learning raclette, learning to do fondue, and these are when you have someone over for fondue or raclette, that's a celebration. I mean, it's just a celebration in itself of gathering around the table, being around that grill, that's in the middle of the table, or the big fondue cacolette. That is so much fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we always have to make it a competition, or
Yeah.
there's always got to be a rule.
You guys make it a competition. I don't lose,
We absolutely do.
It's not even a competition
Mom
for me.
and Dad like to compete. It's so funny. And it was, so when we read about it, we're reading, you stick the long fork in the cheese, take it out, put it on the plate, get your eating fork, and use that to eat with. And we were just talking about this. I don't know if you knew this. You weren't with us last time we were at our friend's house. Our friend from England. Okay, so he brought up the first time he ate fondue at our house. He said, "You scared me so bad." He said, "You started listing out those rules." And I felt like, oh my gosh, she's already caught me, because I had listed out the rule of, the rule is you don't eat off the fondue fork.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's already caught me. She's going to think I'm some kind of, crazy person. And she's going to beat me up. He said, I was so terrified of you. And then here comes the rule about if you drop your bread in the cheese. Well, in our house, if you drop the bread in the cheese, you have to help Todd do the dishes. I don't do the dishes after fondue, which is just a joke, because 9 times out of 10 I do the dishes. But the joke is always you have to help Todd do the dishes, and to me that's just fun to be able to say that.
So far have not dropped food in the fondue pot.
I drop
but
food
it's
in
about
all the
figuring
time,
out
so.
where to stab the fork so it
Exactly.
doesn't fall off.
Ahead, before you
put
it in the cheese.
You have to prepare for
yes.
the weight of the cheese, because I think that's your problem is you don't
Yep.
prepare for the weight of the cheese on top of it.
Yeah.
So you have to get it kind of towards the end where there's more at the front, and the cheese will be like on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. And fondue and raclette season are coming up here. September. Yeah. I will not be here. But in September, about the first week of September, you'll have Käsetag in Solothurn. It's like Cheese Day. They bring the cows down from the mountains in September. And so for Solothurn, our canton, the main city in our canton, they bring the cows down the streets and they dress them up with the flowers. And I don't know, do you remember the cow we met last year?
Candy?
Candy,
right?
yes. And so we get to see the cows, get to see them all dressed up, and get to see them parade through town. They, the people carry those big bells, and they swing the bells and play the music. It's really a cool thing. I just love that celebration. So I'll miss that. I'll also miss the street food festival.
It's a lot of food festivals here.
Yeah, the fun is surrounded by food. A lot of the fun things are. But yeah, it just kind of, it's a good place for food. Like I said, when I first moved here, I would have never recommended Switzerland as a tourist place for food, but I've learned, and I've learned to eat different things. My palate has changed, and so I definitely there's some great food.
And it's a lot harder, and I hear this a lot from people who go to visit the U.S. or are from the U.S. and then go to Europe, where they lose so much weight. You could eat more in Europe and still lose weight, and then just because of how the food is made, even if you're not walking around a lot, and then gain all of it back in the U.S.
Yeah, and
because of the preservatives in the food.
And it's so funny because, in fact, this came up. We went to eat sushi a couple weeks ago, and it was your dad, me, and 2 others that he works with, and one of the other people is from France, and it's not like he's a little tiny guy. He's tall, big guy. And we were eating the bread, and your dad and bread. so there's 4 of us, and there's 5 slices of bread. And so Dad, of course, gets the extra with all the butter and stuff like that. And so we were eating the bread, and his friend from France says, "Is it true there's sugar in the bread?" and your dad says, well,
yes.
First of all, he said, that's how they preserve a lot of things, is salt and sugar. And so I was just thinking, he's right. I don't eat bread in the U.S. I had stopped eating bread mainly because of how I was feeling, how I was so depressed about my weight. I was so depressed I couldn't seem to, do enough exercise for anything to work. And so I had stopped eating bread just before we moved here. And then we get here, and the bread smells so good. Well, I was insisting I was not going to eat bread when I first came here. And then I finally gave in, and I eat bread almost every day.
I do now too, because
And
I have it with breakfast.
so it's not the bread. It was not the bread that was causing me to be sluggish and
well,
not
in the U.S. it probably
well,
was.
it was definitely a contributing factor. Yeah. Absolutely. But yes, I mean, because I cooked. I cooked almost all the time in the U.S. We didn't go out often.
But even then, like, even just the fresh vegetables, like, everything in the grocery store, most of it has a bunch of preservatives in it. Like, even if you cook at home, there's still all of the stuff, like, in the food that it's not here.
And you know what? Even olive oil is different here. Because it's so much closer. Yeah. Last year, we got olive oil that it had been pressed, the very first press, less than 2 weeks before we bought it.
Nice.
And it was, you know, a neon green and a thick. I thought, that doesn't look like olive oil. I'm scared of that. But it was so fresh. I mean, you could taste, it was almost like you could taste the tree bark on it. It was just crazy. But it was the very first press of these olives, of that bottle that we bought. And I thought, wow, I need to go to Italy every year in October. Yeah. Get fresh olive oil. Yeah. Because it was amazing. So, yeah, even the olive oil is different. So.
Yeah. I think that's just all of Europe mainly. It even tastes different. Like, you feel better eating the food here than you do in the U.S. just because there's a lot less of the, like, bad stuff in it.
Yeah. I will say, when I first came here, I did not enjoy the food. I've just said that like 3 times now already. And and I can see, but the only reason I said it again this time is because you said you can taste it, and I think that's I wasn't getting the taste that I was accustomed to.
Yeah.
But now that I've gotten that, I'll never forget my first time going back to the U.S. I had been here 7 months, and I had to go back to help your brother move into his dorm. And we stayed at your dad's parents, and they had Honey Nut Cheerios, which I was used to eating, you know, before we moved here. And I thought I was eating healthy, right? Honey Nut Cheerios every morning. What a healthy breakfast. And I got sick.
Yeah.
1 bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios with milk, and I was sick the entire day.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is just bizarre. So bizarre.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, back in the day, that was my healthy breakfast. But now, you know, it's definitely not my healthy breakfast. I definitely eat fresh fruit every single day. I mean, all year long, I have options, and it's never the same fruit. And that's the funny thing, because in the U.S., you can get the same fruit all year long. And even though it's being shipped from wherever around the world, you can still get it.
Yeah.
But here, you have to rely on seasonal produce. Because it really does come from the local farmers. And so I do not get the same fruit all the time. So every season, you know, is something different.
Yeah.
And so, like right now, it's apricots. So I'm happy.
I think that's a good thing, too. So you'll never get tired of eating something over and over again.
Well, I never got tired of eating grapes. It was funny. That was my go-to fruit. Grapes and bananas was my go-to fruit in the U.S. Never got tired of it.
Yeah.
But I only get grapes here probably April to maybe late August. So that's kind of one of the long fruit seasons. Like apricots, I'll get really good fresh apricots from end of June probably till the end of August. So yeah, I definitely don't get bored.
Yeah.
With my fruit selections.
Yeah. I think I used to always get so bored of like eating the same thing over and over again, but now I have a consistent breakfast that I make every morning, and so far it's been like a month that I've been doing it, and I haven't been tired of it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you know, and if you decide you can just change it up. That's
I can figure something else out.
Yeah.
But I think because it has everything I need in it, so because it's got the protein, and then it's got the it has milk, so calcium.
Yeah.
And then I drink my fruit and my juice with it. Because that's the good thing also about the juice here is there's no added sugars to it. So it's quite literally just pressed and pureed fruit. And it's so good.
It is good. It is good, but it's got things in it I can't have according to my doc. So, you know, but that's okay. So I have a question. So you cook this same thing every morning. Do you wash the eggs before you cook them or break them?
It depends. If the shells are looking really nasty, then yes. So like this morning I had to, but usually no.
You should always wash those
I
shells. Do you know
know.
why? Because
it's
they don't wash
gross.
them before.
Yeah, but you're
They
also
put 'em in
gonna
that-
cook out the bacteria in your.
I
if it
don't
gets
think
in
it.
there.
I wash. It's just like I would wash a cantaloupe before I cut through it.
Yeah, but you're not
'Cause
cooking
whatever-
the cantaloupe.
I understand, but when I'm cutting it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm cutting through that outside layer
Yes, but
first, and
that's
that
the
knife is
thing.
going straight down to the inside.
That's the
You
thing. is
always
cook
wash
out
the
all
outside of stuff before you break it or cut it, or so that's your new tip on
Okay.
wash the outside of stuff. Wash the outside of your lemons before you make your
I
cocktail.
mean, I've also had like a couple of the eggs already be like a little bit cracked, but that's because of how I've had to carry them in my backpack when I come back from the store. But they haven't like broken in the carton, so it's not been a problem.
That's good because that would be awful in your backpack. You got to
Oh, I
start
know.
really being cautious of that.
I can't lay them flat in my backpack. 'cause
Then
it's
you
not
need
big
to
enough.
start when you know you're getting eggs. You need to take your purple card. Okay, other foods. Let's see. Oh, when we went to Germany, you had what did you have?
I had it was
The schnitzel, right?
it was schnitzel, but it was baked in like pumpkin seeds.
Yes,
It was
that's
so
right.
good.
Yes, I had the currywurst for the first time, and that was I
That's a
had been
very
wanting to try it
German
for
thing.
so long, and I thought, well, I gotta wait till I go to Germany to try it.
So
Everyone
good.
says try it in Germany, but yeah, that's hilarious. So, and I can't remember what Dad had,
I don't know.
but I don't know. Maybe the schnitzel. I don't know if he did or not.
I don't
But yeah, I
remember.
remember you had the schnitzel, and then let's see, where else have? Oh well, when we went to Romanshorn, that was the same weekend.
Yeah.
But in Switzerland, right on the water, we ate outside, right by the boats. So you had the fish and chips,
Of course.
and they looked so good.
They were very good.
I don't remember what I had, but it wasn't quite as memorable as your fish and chips because they come out in the basket and they all look so good and yeah.
I've had a lot of fish and chips here.
Yeah.
I think I've had more fish and chips in Switzerland than in England.
I was going to ask, what about when you were in London?
I don't think I had anything too like fancy. I only went out for like a nice dinner when Jana was there, so we went out to a fish and chips place with her friend. And then I think it was the night before we went out for Greek food near like right off of Marylebone High Street. So not on that street, but it was that was really good food. The Greek food. I think we split a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. So the fish and chips in London is where you were introduced to the pureed peas.
Yes.
And we had those last weekend for your
disgusting.
birthday. Oh, they were not. They were great. I liked them. I
No.
liked it.
So gross.
They tasted like they had honey in them. But I don't know about the ones in London. I just had the ones that we had in Basel last week. Because you did the fish and chips last week.
Yeah.
I did a chicken burger. And it was, I don't remember. Was it an Italian? Was it chicken parmesan?
Yeah.
It was a chicken parmesan, yeah. So that was, that was a decent burger. But I liked the puree peas that you got on your fish and chips last week. So.
No. They're disgusting. I like peas. Don't get me
I
I
like
love
peas.
peas.
Yeah.
I don't like the pureed peas. It's gross.
You like the corn here.
I
Like
do.
you
I
would get the box of corn and just eat just that
Yes.
for like a salad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the same. Well, it's not creamed corn, but it's kind of like getting just like creamed corn in the U.S.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always liked corn.
Yeah, you have. You've always liked corn. That's so
And we
funny.
still have a corn in the fridge. I gotta eat.
Oh, that's right. We do. Gotta warm that up. You can do that this evening. Let's see. Where else have we been? The really fancy place here in Solothurn. Salt's House. We first tried it for an anniversary. And then I insisted that your dad take you one year for your birthday because it was just so fancy. And that was so good. And this was one of it's one of those places that has the tiny portions. But they bring so many different courses out. You have like 4 or 5 courses.
Yeah.
And then dessert. And so you get so many different courses. And yes, they are small portions. And you always think, or I always think, I shouldn't say you. I always think, oh, I'm going to be hungry after I leave. And I'll never forget when we first went there. They brought us, Prosecco to start with. And then they always bring you something special from the chef before you even order. So they bring that little course out from the chef. And then they take your order. And you know, they kind of have their prepared meals ahead of time. So you either tell them if you want the 3-course meal or the 4-course meal. And so they kind of already have the menu prepared. And you just pick how many courses you want. And I will say, I always, the first time I went, I thought, I'm going to be hungry when I leave here. And I was not.
No. Yeah,
and I thought,
good.
gosh, that was just, it's really
but
delicious.
It has to, it's a Michelin star restaurant, so
Yeah,
it has to be good.
It is.
They wouldn't have gotten their Michelin star if it weren't good.
It's absolutely delicious. Absolutely. The atmosphere is just beautiful. It was funny because I think it was probably when we went to eat sushi the other night, your dad's friend from Hungary was saying, I love that atmosphere. He said, even in the summer, when I go to Salt's house, I ask to be seated inside.
Yeah.
Even in the summer, he said, because I just think the atmosphere in there is so beautiful that I want to sit in that. I thought, okay, that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Which it is, which I love sitting outside to eat. And I know that's not everybody's favorite. I love that.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I love about living here is I can go into any little town and get a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and sit outside.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
I do like to sit outside to eat unless it's way too hot. And then I can't eat anything because I just, like, my body won't digest it because it's too hot. Or if it's, like, so cute enough inside that I'm like, I want to sit in there.
Yeah. There's a lot of nice places. I will say there's art on every street. Every town, I mean, even some of the benches are artistic looking. It's just so crazy. So especially like in the restaurants, there's beautiful art. There's, and yeah, I mean, I don't know where the chefs train at, but some of them are phenomenal. Phenomenal. So.
Yeah. There was that one French place we went to in Bern. I don't think you liked it.
Was that Coffee Capital? No, I found a business card the other day and I couldn't.
It was not. But it was
I wasn't
really
crazy
good.
about it, but I think it's probably because of what I ordered. I didn't enjoy what I ordered.
Okay.
And I think that I was feeling so stressed because we had planned it so well, and then the transportation was late. And we had a reservation, and I was so stressed about being late for that reservation that I could not enjoy myself. So yeah, we got to try it again.
I think you need to relax a little bit when it comes to that kind of thing.
I know I do, and I really don't know how.
But
I don't know.
I love duck, so mine was really good.
You know, when we had sushi, one of the pieces on that big shared platter was the duck liver.
Interesting.
Your dad was terrified to eat it. Now he's going to tell you to cut this part out because he'll say that he wasn't terrified. But the lady flat out told us, eat this first because it's better warm. It's nasty cold.
And like
so,
coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee, I guess it's not nasty cold. I just don't like it.
And so we all three of us just immediately went for it. As soon as she walked away, we went for our duck liver. And your dad waited. And I was like, oh no. I said, she said to eat that warm. Okay. And he wouldn't say that he was afraid. He wouldn't say anything. And so he ate it and he did not like make a face or anything. And then at the very end of the meal, because we had a ton of sushi between the four of us. It was so much food. At the end, his friends were saying, oh, I really like that duck liver. Even though that was the first thing we ate. Yeah. Everybody was coming back to that. I said, it was excellent.
Yeah.
That really was excellent. And I wish we had had 2 of those.
Yeah.
Because we had 2, 3, some things had 4 on there for us. But, and that was for each of us.
Yeah.
And so I said, I wish we had had 2 of those each. And your dad said, I didn't mind it. He said, I was, not sure if I was going to like it. But, it was kind of funny. So, yeah, I thought the duck liver was good. Unfortunately, that restaurant's closing down.
Oh, darn.
So, they're closing in October and November. So. But, wow, it was something. It was it was beautifully organized and decorated. And, the people there were excellent, excellent staff.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the thing, the restaurants we've been to, the staff are so well trained. They're so good at their job that they do make you enjoy it. Do you remember within 3 months of being here, we went to Mamma Mia in Core. Do you remember? In fact, so it was you, your brother, me, and Tessa. There were 4 of us.
Yeah.
That went. I had the lasagna. I don't remember if you had a pizza. I'm sure.
I definitely had a pizza.
I'm not sure what your brother had.
Probably a pizza.
Probably a pizza. But that was excellent. That was an excellent, meal. And I thought about going there. I went to Core in November, just as they were setting up the Christmas market. In fact, they were building the huts for the Christmas market. And so I looked and it said, sure enough, this upcoming weekend was when the Christmas market was going to open. So I almost went there, but then I saw another restaurant. I thought, well, I'll try that. So I quickly made a reservation for one person at the restaurant I was going to try in Core. And I go in, and of course, they sit me at this long table. You know how when you're by yourself, you have to sit with strangers. So you don't ever get a table by yourself. Or I have one time. At the Gritty Neck, I got a table by myself. But that's just because, I just got lucky. And I think they recognized I was scared. But anyway, they put me down at this table, this long table with all these people. And I'd already planned in my head, what I was going to get. Because they had these veal balls, the veal meatballs with stroganoff. It was a stroganoff meal and with the big fat egg noodles. And there was a local Core red wine that I wanted to order. And it was so funny because the waiter, he was like, that's not local. And I said, yes it is. And so I got the wine menu out and showed it to him. He said, I did not know that. He said, I didn't know that. And so it was so funny because, I was sitting there with all these strangers and, I was the only one that had ordered a pasta meal evidently. I guess everybody was ordering kind of quick lunches. And I noticed everybody was watching my plate. And I thought, okay, I'm really uncomfortable with this. So I took a pause. And so the waiter comes by and says, are you finished? Or is this just a pause? I said, just a pause. So I took several pauses during that meal. And it was just so funny because I got to see people come and go. And, they were sitting at the table and it was interesting. And, I could tell, there were, some of them, I think some of them thought, well, who is this? Is she some kind of food critic? You could tell they were wondering why I was there by myself. And it really was no reason. I just was there and I wanted to eat at a nice restaurant. And I decided not to go to Mamma Mia. Instead, I went to this one. And it was kind of funny, but it was, the big table. And I've had to do that a few times. At the tram depot in Bern, they have that big long table in the middle. I don't know if you've ever noticed it. But that's where all the singles sit.
Okay.
They sit you at that big long table, so it's kind of funny. Yeah. But your dad was saying one time he sat down at a restaurant when he was traveling here before we moved. He sat down at a restaurant, and of course it was one of those tables where they sit you, I'll sit all the single people at this table. And so the waitress took your dad's food to the man at the other end of the table. Oh. And he complained, said that's not what I ordered, but he started eating it anyway.
Of course.
And so your dad had to get his food.
Yeah.
And your dad, he's not going to complain.
No.
Absolutely not. So your dad had to be stuck with what he didn't order. He said he didn't mind it, but, it's not what he would have ordered.
Yeah. Well, if someone got my food, I would look them in the eyes as I ate it.
Yeah.
And just, if I had to get their
food.
I
would have asked for the correct food. I tend to get, my order, I tend to be the one person in the restaurant that the order's not right.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it happens as often as you think. You just remember the times it does
I do
happen.
remember the times it does happen. But, I do think it happens more than to the normal person.
I don't think so.
Well, it happened this weekend.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Still, it happens.
Yeah, it does. I wish it didn't happen, though.
I
wish there were ways for that to not happen.
Servers are human.
Yeah.
They make mistakes. You have to remember that. So, they don't get paid enough.
They do
all.
here.
Well, here they do, but normally they don't get paid enough to. Yeah. So, I have to say though, I enjoyed like every meal we had in Iceland.
Oh wow! Okay, the first fish and chips place we went to.
Yes.
Back to fish and chips. Sorry.
So good.
The Reykjavik Fish Company.
Mm-hmm.
Eat there. Excellent.
So good.
It was so good, and the atmosphere was fantastic. It was
Oh my gosh.
It was exactly what I wanted and expected from Iceland. Yeah. And even your brother loved it.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Also in Iceland, be sure you drink your Gull beer. Gull.
Yeah.
Gull.
And
love
Black
my Gull.
Death.
And
Take a shot of
definitely
Black Death.
have a shot of Black Death. Absolutely.
I did the little Viking challenge thing or whatever it was at the Viking restaurant because even like I know it's probably geared more towards kids, like just the.
But they
whole
don't
theme.
give the black. Oh, the theme of the restaurant is definitely geared towards kids. But we made it an adult playground while we were there.
Yeah, and I wanted to do something like stupid and touristy, so I was like, oh, we got to go to the Viking restaurant.
And that was so much fun.
So good.
Our waitress was adorable.
She was nice.
Lovely. Absolutely. Yeah, that was fun. I would go back there.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's kind of the kid theme. I would go back there, and I think your brother would.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious, we had so much fun.
And
on
as
that
gross
trip.
as that shark was, I would do it again.
You know, we've got that dried fish that's in there.
Well, the
tastes
shark
like
was raw. Like it
oh,
was,
okay,
it
that's
was
right.
Like
so you eat the shark, take the shot of Black Death, right?
Well, there was dried fish. So you do the dried fish and the shark and the shot of Black Death.
Okay. Yeah, that was funny. She was so cute because she brought it out there too.
Oh my gosh.
That was a lot of fun. So where else did we eat? Well, we cooked. You cooked.
I cooked.
You cooked while we were there.
We made burritos. We didn't.
Yeah,
have any
we
chicken.
did the rice and beans and had that, and then we were able to make burrito or wraps the next day for our trip around the Golden Circle. It was a lot of fun. Did we get hot chocolate at one of the places? I don't remember. We didn't do that, did we?
I don't know. We might have.
It was because we were cold.
We did at the museum.
Okay.
We got
at the museum. You're right. We did at the museum. That was fantastic.
That was really nice.
That was a great plan. So I think we planned that trip really well. We forgot to go to the Rock and Roll Museum. We were having so much fun shopping in Reykjavik. We forgot to go to the Rock and Roll Museum. And it's so funny because I'm pretty sure I put that in the blog about it. It was just so funny. Well, we had everything planned out that day. And yeah, your dad was like, well, plan it. And he just went along.
I know. Well, you guys made me pick.
He must have won the lottery or something and not told me. Because he did not complain about stuff.
No, I think it was great.
And even went above and beyond, made sure I got a new sweater, a new pullover, and...
Well, it's because he was going to get one, too.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was... And I love my new Icelandic pullovers. The colors of the earth. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. No, that was really fun. I enjoyed Iceland.
Yes. I don't recall if we got ice cream. Oh, we did the cinnamon buns.
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh wow. Braudenko.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was good.
That was good. Ooh, that was really, really good. They were huge. Yeah. So that was kind of fun. And the place we stayed the first night, that was adorable. The Fisherman's Village.
Yeah.
That was so great. And it's so funny because they do have a restaurant at that little Fisherman's Village. But you have to have at least a party of 8 before they'll even open the restaurant for you. So they want parties of 8 to 20, and then they'll open the restaurant. So it was not open while we were there, which was kind of funny. I thought that's just but they have the ability to do that. Another place we ate at was the Cock. That's the guy that grew up in. He says he's part Icelandic and he's, I guess, American. I don't remember. No. But anyway, he grew up.
I wouldn't go back there. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think I'd necessarily go back. But the people were rude and they really make fun of tourists. Yeah. And my first thought was, that's your biggest moneymaker.
It's geared
and
towards
you're making
tourists.
Fun of them?
It's literally geared towards American tourists. I don't know what they're expecting.
So obviously, the guy that owns the place wasn't there when we were there. They wouldn't. I don't think they'd have been acting that way. They were very, very rude, and so yeah, I don't know that I would go back there either. But that's a shame because it's, it was one of the places we wanted to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the Reykjavik Fish Company, that's a good place to go.
It's really good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much fun stuff to do in Iceland.
Oh yeah.
That's a great place. I'd move there if I could.
I've had a lot of really good food just in Europe, so I think a lot of everything seems to be much better than American cuisine.
Even when we were in Italy, there was a lot of meat, dried meat, and that's kind of my thing. Not your dad's thing. It's kind of my thing, but even your dad enjoyed that. So the cheeses were fresh. The meat was just kind of right up my alley, and the bread, of course. My goodness, the bread. So I'd definitely go back to Florence just to try those sandwiches again. So there's lots of places I'd go back. Good pizza in Milan. So Italy's just high on there. But there are a lot of good places right around here too. I think we're kind of lucky in where we live in Switzerland that we can get to anything. The French tacos in Sion.
Yes.
They're not like tacos like what we're used to. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that was quite a fun surprise. But I am glad Dad and I shared one because they were big. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and TikTok @WineTogetherPod.